Hello, I'm Devin. Welcome to my YouTube channel, where I talk about kind of whatever I want. But today I wanted to give everyone an update on how it's going with my Everbook. But before I do, just a heads up, you're gonna get like the raw view of my office. It's not been tidied up, it's not been cleaned. This is my home office. I work in here, I work out in here, I do music in here. Sometimes I just disappear in here to like study and chill. So there's just stuff everywhere, but there's something I added recently that is cool that I wanted to, and that is these babies. Oh, such a good addition to my office. When I was in high school, there were a couple of years where I was doing something between 2 to 3 hours of music every day, between playing my saxophone in any of the high school bands and singing in a handful of the high school choirs. And then at the time, my cousin had loaned me an acoustic guitar. And one of my dad's friends had kind of like, I'm not sure if this is a gift now. It's been like 15 years. But he loaned me this electric guitar. And I would doodle on it in the evenings when I wasn't doing my homework. And yeah, for a long time, since having kids, I've not really had an answer when people ask, like, what's your hobby or what do you do for fun? And for me, it really occurred to me of like, well, music is what I do for fun. Like, other people, like, I can't stand watching a whole football game. I can't stand, I don't know, there's no sports that I really like care to get into or like a lot of outdoor activities. But like music, dude, I could play music all day long and just never stop. Now I have to. There's other things in my life, like work and my Everbook. So let me show you where it's at. Like I said, this is my desk as it is. I didn't even like brush away the dust. So it's kind of messy there. Got a bunch of fountain pens that are dried up because I haven't been using them. I have been using, if I can find it, this pen has been great. Look at all these cords. It's such a mess. This pen has been great. It's the Uni Jetstream. 4 colors and a pencil. There we go. There's the pencil. It clicks right there. And then the other colors, black, blue, green, and red. So that's been a great Everbook companion because I can just have a bunch of colors for different things while I'm writing. All right. I am still using my original cover. I did use the duct tape cover for a while that I made, but I found I didn't like the quality of it being out and about. It was durable, like it did fine, but there's something about having the leather that I really appreciate. Alrighty. This thing is still structured basically after getting things done, but I've made some modifications. First, my inbox is no longer just an inbox. I call it the captain's log and inbox. And so in here, I have sheets that look like this. One for the day. And you can see I made an icon for each of my bundles. And so this one, it looks like the Windows command line interface icon, CLI, captain's log and inbox. Anyway, some of you appreciate that connection, some of you don't. But it's really simple. The principle is called interstitial journaling. Some of you may do this if you may have done it in a bullet journal. But basically every day I get a fresh sheet of paper and I write the date at the top and I write a timestamp for whenever I'm sitting to look at this. And I write, what have I just done and what am I going to do next? And so I just did breakfast with the kids and I am now recording my YouTube video. That's literally what's happening right now. And then I kind of do this combined with the Pomodoro. And so just throughout the day, this becomes what I'm jotting down what I'm doing. And if a task pops up, it gets a point on here. And then at the end of the day, right, it's 5 o'clock. That's when I clock out for the day. I just take the sheet of paper and I toss it in my in basket. And then when it's time to do my weekly review, or any time before then, but what I'm doing is I'm pulling these out of the in basket and I'm looking at all of the tasks that are undone, that are not checked off as completed, and I'm deciding, do I still need to do that? If I do, awesome. I have my getting things done system that goes into that. Sometimes I wrote down a task that seemed important, but now it's not, and so I can just disregard it. Whatever, that's kind of how that works though, and it's been so good both to help me stay on task with what I'm I don't forget what I was working on right now. Plus, I've got a little landing place for all the little pop-ups. My son made this for me. I thought that was super cool. He thought it was super cool, and I agree with him. All right. Next. So that's what goes into this bundle. It doesn't have any others in there right now, but there we go. Of course, next actions. Starting with getting things done. I got my contacts lists. I think the only difference is I used to have a projects bundle. I don't have that anymore. I just have in here one of the pages is projects. And so there we go. Easy enough. And then we're going to get into it a little bit more in just a minute. Let me see if I can find it. A little privacy, I don't want you to see everything. One of them is... Man, where is it? Hang on. Alright, I found it. One of them is my 12-week year scorecard for the week. So if you've been into the 12-week year, some of my goals I'm working on, but we're in week 5. Here are my key tactics for the week. This is a space where I'm supposed to put notes on the time that I blocked off to do those tactics. But I keep this as with my next actions list, so that when it's time for a work day, I've got this, plus all my context stuff. Because I really fall apart at work when I forget the whole broad range of things that I should be doing. Like, that's literally it. It's just in the moment when I'm just it's me and my blank computer screen, it's just like I forget that I have any responsibilities. And so I just pull out the appropriate sheets from here, and bam, I can be super productive all day long. I think the other one, project support, it's pretty standard. In here are, some of them are folders. So this would be a project. So in my next actions bundle, I have 2 lists of projects. One of them is professional projects, and one of them are personal projects. But one of the things I do, if I put a triangle on the project on the list, that indicates, hey, you've got something in this folder that pertains to that. And so in this case, here's a folder full of stuff. Got some stuff for taxes, just all the info, all little reference things so I can see like little data points I need to complete my projects. Great. Calendar and agendas. I've tried a handful of different ways to do a calendar. And I've really just come down to something pretty simple. And that is, there's 3 things that go in here. One is every month gets a sheet, and then every upcoming month. And if there's something coming up and I go, oh yeah, that's a thing I'm going to have to do in March of 2026, and I just put it on here, and if it has a particular date in March to do it, then I'm writing down that date. The only other thing I'm doing is creating agendas. So I don't have any right now, but what I'll do later today is Friday, so I'll be looking at next week. I will do something like this, where these are the 3 lines, that's my agendas and calendar icon or symbol. And I'll write the title of the meeting, the date that meeting is going to happen, and then at first I'll just write down some tasks, like here's some stuff I want to cover in that meeting. And then during the meeting, I actually pull out this piece of paper to take my notes on. And so that's really useful. And that goes, it goes in this folder, and before the meeting. During the meeting, I pull the paper out and I use it to take notes. And then after the meeting, once I pull from it all the to-dos I have, it goes into this giant archival bundle I have. This is this is every meeting I've had this year so far, I think. And so it just goes in here. And so if I need to reference back to something, it's organized chronologically, bam, I can go get it. And then likewise, for the captain's log, I have an archival bundle. So just about every day from this year so far, I've got one piece of paper. It goes in here. You can see a record of literally my work life, which is kind of nice. Let's see, so that's that. I have a 12-week year bundle. This is just dedicated to all the thinking and planning of putting together a 12-week year. But the other one is vision. This would be, it is the horizons exercise from getting things done, where you think about your future and your future goals and current responsibilities. I try to do this once a quarter, so every 12-week year I'm revisiting my vision and rewriting it down. And then the old ones go into an archival folder, so I can go back and reference them if I want to. And then the current ones live in here, and I can kind of think about them and expand on them, help me stay focused. I have a sketchbook bundle. I haven't sketched anything in a long time, but it's still in here. Blank pages bundle, of course. Reference, and I picked the hashtag symbol, the pound sign. That's my symbol for reference material. Still have a journal in here, but I'm not using it. I will introduce you to my journal on a different video, but I've left the bundle in here maybe as a just in case, and that's fine. So, anyway, that's how I'm using my Everbook. It is so functionally useful. It is so functionally useful. I have gone to digital formats back and forth a few times this past year. Wasn't good for me. But I'll tell you one thing that I did to make this so much easier, and that is I standardized my paper. So I just got blank half-letter sheets of paper. So like when I need paper, it's easy. I just got rid of needing any dot grid. Just took the extra steps to pull that together. I was like, no thanks. And then I got some brightly colored cardstock paper. So these are what I use for bundles. And cardstock really seems to be an ideal material for making bundles. I've done construction paper. Construction paper was a little too flimsy. And then I took some of those plastic, if you've seen plastic file folders, I tried that for a while. And the problem I ran into was they became too brittle. They're really good at staying closed. They're not good at all about being open. And so after a handful of times of trying to lay a bundle flat open, it would just break. That wasn't good. Anyway, I don't think I have anything else to update. Just to say, if you're using an Everbook, I hope it's going well for you. I hope you don't feel like too much of an odd man out when you pull this thing out at a meeting and everyone's got their notebooks, they've got their tablets and their phones, and you've got your Everbook. And there we go. I hope that's a useful review for some of you, maybe encouraging if you need it, or maybe insightful if you're exploring trying to use an Everbook for the first time. Peace.